And of course, all of that is kind of underpinned this week with the news that there's going to be some potentially some Qatari investment. It has been confirmed today that essentially the same Qataris that are especially involved, QSI, who own PSG, will not be involved. It's a different Qatari company called QIA, but they're interested in putting a bid in for Man United. Of course, there's Ratcliffe as well, and it does feel like it's beyond the beginning of the end. It feels like the Glazer reign is coming to an end. And do you get the feeling, obviously, living in Manchester, that when they announce new owners, that's going to also be a massive boost to everybody at the club, including the fans?
If they announce new owners, I'm sceptical of it all. I think these Glazers, if you look, they got rid of Ronaldo, and the day after they announced a statement that they were looking into investment into the club. So the whole Ronaldo announcement got swept under the carpet, and pandemonium in Manchester reigned, and all the Reds were twerking for the Sheiks and thinking that the Glazers was gone. It's no coincidence. United takeover news comes out the day City are getting charged by the Premier League, and the Super League flops up. So you don't know with this media these days and what's going on unless there's some concrete evidence and statements going about from these people saying they've put a bid in or whatever. I wouldn't believe it, because them Glazers, to shift them out of that club, I think it's going to take a lot to do it. And I think they don't want to go peacefully. They might be saying they want to go, but I've just got a feeling that they're going to hang on to a little bit of that club somehow. You know what I mean? But it is what it is.
I have that fear. I do have a fear. I just feel, look, if it happens, there will be, when I say there'll be carnage, I mean this with respect, there won't be. There'll be lots of shouting, there'll be a protest, there'll be lots of hashtags, but nobody will actually do anything. I've been quite resolute in what I did. As I was a season ticket holder from about 2007 up until, I want to say it was till 2015, 2016, around that time. And I had a conversation with my dad, and I was moaning one Sunday afternoon. I went to my dad's for dinner. I was moaning about the Glazers and how they run the club. My dad just kind of said to me, why are you giving them your money then? If they're only after your money, why are you giving them your money? It's kind of how me and my family operate. So if we don't believe in something, we don't participate in it at all. Unless it's, I don't like how my government spends tax, but I can't legally not pay tax. Outside of that, if I'm someone, you must have seen this all over the internet. People, you'll see like a thread of why Amazon is the worst company in the world. I'm only going to share that thread and condemn them if I'm willing to not use Amazon's products. And I treat even my football club in that same way. I love Man United so much, but the way I kind of view things for a long while is every penny I give them, it helps to enable the Glazers' poor behavior. I understand it from the other aspect that for some people it's their main social hub. Some people just want it. They can separate the supporting the boys on the pitch from the people that run it. And I really respect that to a degree. However, every conversation I've ever had with any Man United fan has always been, what do you think the Glazers are after at United? They're only here to make money. Like, then we have the power, don't we? You pull that money away and they will sell. The irony is they're looking to either sell now or sell part of it because they're out of money. There's no money. So the irony in it is, as much as people don't like what I say about boycotting and pulling money away, it would take no more than 6 months for them to sell if everybody pulled their money. And the one thing about match-going fans is they have a lot of power that I don't sometimes think they know they yield. This notion that if they all stop going, 75,000 new fans would take their place, I don't think it's true. I think if the diehards, the home and aways especially, boycotted and said, we're not doing it for this reason, and explained it properly.
The thing is, Terry, if you boycott it as a match-going fan, you're hurting yourself more than them, because you love the club and you watch the team. So if for me to stay outside the stadium or for me to not watch the club, I don't think I could do it. I'll protest. I'll handcuff myself to the goalpost. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. But when it comes to the badge and the players on the pitch, that's who I'm there to support. And a lot of United fans say the same. It's very different abroad. Fans have walkouts or turn up at the training ground and kick off and all that. We get that. In this country, you're getting nicked. You're getting a 3, 4, 5-year banning order from the ground for doing anything near the stadium.
Yeah.
Just for example, me and Saeed went to Old Trafford the other week before the derby to film a preview outside. Now, I've done this at the Etihad numerous times. You walk around the Etihad and the security are there, but they're all right with you, you know what I mean? They're approachable. They let you do your thing and that's it. This was like an MI5 operation. As soon as we touched foot on Man United property, They was on us. Security was on us. They wanted the camera off us. They wanted everything off us. They're frightened to death. And we ended up in. We had to go in hotel football. Gary Neville, fair play to him, and film. But I've never seen anything like it round there. You know what I mean? The way they are. But I just think, you know, the match going fan does have a lot of power, as you say, but they also know that the match going fan loves the club and it's in their heart, and they don't want to do anything to jeopardise it. So, you know, it's all right. And people saying on the internet, why don't you walk out the stadium? But when you've been to every game for the last 30 years and you're backing your boys, you don't want to do that.
I completely get it. And this is where sometimes I've tweeted things before, and when I tweet about this, I always know it comes across very Lee Gunner, very like controversial, maybe not the right language being used, and confrontational. And I think I've got to that point because I've invited some people that are involved in like the 1958 group. Let's sit down, let's have a dialogue about it, and please let me explain my view of it, and maybe you'll get it. And I totally agree, because when I gave up my season ticket, it hurt me. Even now, like I speak to Jess about it all the time. As much as I love doing what I do for a job, I genuinely miss going to games. I miss everything about, especially away games and European games away. I miss that with every single ounce of my being. It was something just the planning, the prepping, the traveling, the having fun with your friends. The game was great. But I'm not even going to lie. Going to football matches, everything else surrounding the game, in some respects, was even more enjoyable. You know, the whole day was part of it. The social aspect, I loved it. And it did hurt me to give it up. But my view of this was, the analogy my dad gave me, and it just resonated, was kind of like this. He said, if one of you, in one of me and my brothers, he goes, was hooked on drugs, he said, I'd lock you in a room and watch you sweat it out. He goes, I don't care how much pain you're in, you're screaming, you're crying, that would kill me. That would hurt me watching it. But I'd make you go cold turkey and then get you into rehab. He said, I wouldn't do. And my dad speaks about this from a point of experience. One of my dad's best friends had a son who was hooked on crack. And his dad would just go out and buy it for him. It was like, no, I didn't want to see him scream or hurt. Every time we tried. And it was something that resonated with my dad. And I know it's a very warped and very serious example. It's the one he used with me. And it resonated to, it's going to hurt me in the short term. It hurts me in the short term, pulling my money away from the club. But I kind of felt that if everybody followed suit in the long term, we'd have rid of the Glazers. And if they're gone, then we can go back to loving and supporting the club. And I just see it from that point of view. It's how I see most things when it comes to, even that right now in the UK with energy. I don't know how this would work it logistically, but there's a way we could lower energy prices tomorrow as a nation. Just everybody stop paying your bills. They're not going to cut all our electric off. They're not going to do it. Like, everyone stop paying and they'll lower the bills. But the problem we have in England is we're all, and that's not a dig at anybody, we're all, generally speaking, a little bit soft. I'll moan about the energy prices, but pay it, as an example. I'll moan about food prices, but we all pay it. Man United fans will moan about the Glazers, but then keep going and buying shirts. We don't force change. And that's why, for me, I've just someone that's become, and I think social media has done this to me, where I'm like, how do I say this in the right way? I hate people that moan online and do nothing tangible about it in any capacity. So I think I've just got to a point where it's like, you're going to say Glazers out, do something about it. If not, shush. If you're going to moan about how bad Amazon are, cancel Amazon on your app and move on from it. You know, I don't know.
Well, United fans broke into the ground against Liverpool, got the game abandoned. Yeah, we had the protests. Fair play to them. And then 3 months later, they signed Ronaldo, and the queue for the mega store was right round the fucking stadium, and they broke records for shirt sales. So you can't have it both ways. This is what I'm saying, you know, and that was mad. You know, the same people that were standing outside the shop with bed sheets with Glazers out on it were sat in the bedroom the week after with a Ronaldo 7 shirt on. So make it make sense,
mate. But that's exactly my point. And it was almost a case of, you're not. For me personally, if buying the Man United shirt is more important than helping to get rid of the Glazers, I don't think your Glazer out on the side. Glazer out would be nice. It's a nice thing to have, but you're not Glazer out. It's there's a comedian called Kai Kurd. I don't know if you've come across him on socials. Really good comedian, based in London. And he does this joke, and it's so funny. He's like, if you want to see if someone's serious as an activist, hold a protest on a rainy morning, a rainy Monday morning at 9 a.m. and see who shows up. Then you'll know serious, not a sunny Saturday afternoon where it's a piss up and a walk. And you laugh at, we all know it's true. People were like, you know, certain things happen. Oh yeah, there's gonna be a protest. And I get what people would say. People are not working on Saturdays. It's easier for them to be there to a degree. But if this is something that is the most important thing in the world, you can take a day's holiday off work. You know, we're not living in a developing country. Everyone's got annual leave. Take a day's holiday and protest on a Monday morning in the rain. No one's there. How many protests happen at those times? Those teachers like that struck the other day and went on a march. They cared about that. That's why they were there in the middle of January, walking through the streets in minus conditions. People that don't really care, that just stick a black box on Twitter or, you know, tweet that, oh, Greta Thunberg's great, isn't she? I'm not having, by the way, I'm not having a pop at any of those organizations. They do what they do. I just see through the virtue signal, and we'll get onto it with the Super League a little bit later. But the Super League's the same. I'm seeing people, oh, it's a disgrace. Yeah, but you'll still do match reactions to it. So why don't you shut your mouth? Like I've got an issue. Like I've just got an issue with the kind of the virtue signaling side of it. And that isn't to say everyone who's a season ticket holder at Man United is a virtue signaler. I know they're not. However, it's a case of if we keep funding them, if we keep giving them, we get new owners that partly by 25% and they clear some of the debt. And then fans go, hey, and start spending money and the share price rises again. How long is it going to be till we're back in this position? It might prolong things, make things better for a small period of time. But I still think in the end, the Glazers are going to take money out of the club. They're going to fail to invest as much as we need them to. If the new investors don't have any say in how the club's being run, how is it actually going to improve long term? So for me, if they don't sell the thing 110%, we have to do more than just protest, more than just hashtag. There needs to be some tangible action that damages them financially. But we'll see what happens. It's going to be an interesting one to see how it kind of turns out. Terry Tate here. No, I'm not. Listen, Terry Tate. I don't really think anything I've said is connectable at all to what Andrew Tate says. To be fair, but that's just me. I just don't like virtue signalers. That's all. You know, I mean, if you believe in something, do something about it. We had a company once that was interested in sponsoring the Terrace, Steve, and they were like, "Could you run us through your diversity policy?" And I said, "I don't have one." And they looked at me like I was an alien. I don't need one. I don't need one because I'm a proper person.
Yeah.
If you look at the people I employ, if you look at the people that we have on our shows, there is no quota or I'm going to make sure I have this type of woman and this type of man and this type of the individual. And I've got to make sure I've got this. Just if you apply for a role and you're good enough, you'll get the job. If you call in and you're good enough, we'll have you back on again. I don't really care. And I think that if you just treat people as individuals and you just kind of like normal, diversity will naturally develop itself in you. And the Football Terrace has it in abundance and it's not forced. It isn't me going around patting certain individuals on the head going, I will give you a chance because the government says I've got to. I just don't subscribe to that way of thinking in anything I do. So yeah, virtue signaling, get the hell out of here. I ain't going to do it. I'm just going to be me. And if people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't.